You may have heard sentences or certain teachings from traditions like nonduality, you are already it, or this is it, and then you had this sense or thought that the search is over and you can stop practicing meditation, being in service to other people, undoing belief systems, or healing the wounds dependent on whatever you've practiced. In this video, I'm gonna go into why this can be one of the biggest traps of the mind that it can play onto itself, and why it means that you just can't stop the spiritual search itself or stop your practice. Basically, everything that the mind tries to convince you that the search is over, that you can stop now, or you can take a break, is basically just an act of trying to keep you stuck somewhere. Because whenever you say, this is it, and it isn't it, you're basically constructing a shield with a big stop on it, and here you're gonna stop. You stop searching, you stop looking, you stop doubting if this is really what you are, what it is, or if it's just another thought you've believed in. The biggest danger where this can happen is, in my opinion, the path of non-duality, because the whole teaching is so reduced to just stick to what is, to just exist as this, live as this, and to experience yourself as truth, that probably the only way for the mind to get in is to convince yourself this is what already happened because you had a great deep experience or satori and meditation or self-inquiry. You have experienced it but fell back, and now the mind tries to sell you the story that you've seen it and that this is it. My own experience after nearly 10 years of daily meditation practice and coming more of a background from Buddhism or a big Osho influence is that you just cannot really stop the search, or because the mind tries to convince you that it's over, that this is what actually happens. Yeah, it might be true that one day, if you're lucky, that you have this realization that you are everything and that there is no separation, and that it might gonna stay like this, or maybe not. We're not gonna know. I also can't say this out of my own experience. But the point is this: if it happens, it's gonna be in a single moment, the realization where everything falls apart. But everything until then, the whole path, it still needs to be walked. The path itself is not useless. It's part of the realization. And you can't just skip the walk and expect arrival to happen. So just don't stop your meditation practice or being in service to others or trying to heal the wounds that are still there, that might still keep you stuck in contraction or the story of yourself. Whatever has worked for you till then and is still working, continue doing it, because it's a very common thought that the mind will come up with to try distract you from the search and tell you already that it is over. Every explanation, every label that your mind is going to apply to what is now, to the experience that you still have, it's just a rationalization. And even if it are the words, this is it, as long as there is still a sense of I, some sense of center that you're operating from, even if it is very subtle, it is still not it. Even if it might feel like, or the mind tries to convince you that it is. So stick to your practice, be disciplined about it, and also another point that I always like to emphasize is it's not just discipline, it's also to enjoy the path, to choose practices that work for you, that you can do on a daily basis, so it doesn't become I have to do it, I have to force myself. Meditation or whatever practice you do should be fun, it should be enjoyable, so that you actually want to do it. So whatever works for you, just stick to that. It might be being open in relationship to other people, might serving them and trying to find heart through this, or might be more meditation. But whatever it is that works for you, just stick to it. When you truly have done enough of it, it will stop bit by bit and fade out, and whatever was behind that experience, it will take more over on its own accord. But when your mind tries to tell you that it has achieved that already, it is not the case. Through a lot of non-duality teachings that are accessible online, on YouTube and other platforms, a lot of people assume that they might be already there. But for most people, that's just not the case. So be careful in trying to rationalizing. So be careful when it comes to the rationalization of non-duality or Advaita, to assume that you are already it, if it's not your first-hand experience every single moment from your life without falling out of it. Because if you do, well, then still practice is needed, regardless if it is self-inquiry or the practice of meditation or whatever you're working with. Peace out.